Hello, it's Phil Thatch, and I'm here. You know, a lot of times people do cameras and coffee videos, and I might be game to do that early in the morning, but it's nighttime right now, so tonight's video is going to be beer and gear. Let me have a sip of this Bud Light. A friend of mine who I've known, we were actually in the same kindergarten class, and I'm 54, so that was a long time ago. A friend of mine, his mom passed away several years back, and it turns out that back in the 70s and 80s, she practiced photography. And he's been telling me for a couple of years, it's been a while since she passed away. He's been telling me for a while that he'd like to get his mother's camera gear into the hands of someone who may actually use it. And he wasn't wanting much money for it, and I said, yeah, I'll take a look at it. And finally, today, Heather and I went and met my buddy, and we took a look at the gear that he had. And you know, he didn't even know what brand it was. He said it's several different brands. So we went and took a look, and let me show you what was found in this gear haul. Let's start with that one. Thank you, ma'am. Look at this old container that this thing is in. Let me put my glasses on. It used to be black at one time. You can tell when you unsnap. Well, you can tell when you unsnap. You can see that it was black right here. So I guess this entire gray and completely falling apart little camera case, little soft camera case, used to be black, and you can see just barely. Oh, there's the cat. You can see that here on the front it says Nikon matte, so that's kind of interesting. And on the back it says Nikon made in Japan. And so you take this off, and I've never taken the entire case off of it. You know, we just got home with it.
I think it's actually screwed in on the bottom.
Okay, well, we'll just leave it like that. So here it is. It's an old film camera. It says, I don't know if you can see that. It says Nikon matte there at the top. And on the front of that Nikon matte camera, and inside this case, the camera is in really nice shape. There's some scratches here a little bit, and you know, I guess it could use some cleaning. But here on the front of that camera is a really nice condition lens, and turns out it is a 50mm f2. There's a website that does Nikon lens versions and serial numbers, and it's really informative. I'll put a link to it. I'm not sure who does this website, but it's really great, and I'll put a link to it in the description of this video. But we looked this lens up on that site. Based on the serial number, it says Nikon H.C. And based on the serial number, which starts, it's 2,292,000 and some change, it was built somewhere between December of 72 and October of 74. It looks like they made 188,800 of these. And I've already taken it off of this camera and put it on the Z6 and the FTZ, and it works pretty good. Not too shabby. So that is pretty cool. This old film camera, I don't know if I'll ever, it operates kind of weird. Honestly, I don't know exactly how to do shutter speed and all that sort of stuff with it. But it's pretty cool. It's got there's a mechanical timer on the front. You might be able to hear it counting down with the mechanical timer, and there it clicks. Pretty neat. So that was the first thing in this haul. Let's put that there. And then in that same bag, and now this is a very fancy camera bag that these were in. In that same bag, there was this, a kind of a larger lens. Nice case here. This case withstood the years much better than that one on that camera. But this is, what is this? This is a Vivitar 200mm prime. It's an f3.5 prime, 62mm filter thread. I'm not able to date it because there's not, that I've been able to find, a really good Vivitar website. But I guess it's Nikon mount. It looks like Nikon mount. And I was hoping it was a macro lens, but it looks like the minimum focus distance on it is 6 feet. So it's definitely not a macro lens. It's got a built-in metal hood. It's all metal. It's heavy, and the glass on all these lenses looked pretty good. That 50 millimeter f2 lens, that kind of has some value to me. This probably less, but I may play around with it. Maybe test it out, take it out and shoot with it one day and make a video about that. So there's the second item in the gear haul. Next, there's this camera case, and this looks like it is an actual camera case. Got a shoulder strap with a nice pad on the bottom of it. Let me pop it open here. Maybe. Inside, look at this green felt inside of it. That's pretty neat. And then here is another lens that I'm struggling to get out of this case. If you'll hold that for me, madam. So here's another lens in a case with a, both this one and that 200 kind of have an over-the-shoulder case. And this one, the top of the container says Sigma. So another third-party lens. And when you take it out, you'll see that it's a push-pull zoom. One of my favorite lenses is a push-pull zoom. I have the 70 to 210 Nikon push-pull zoom, and this back cap, metal rear lens cap for Nikon. Huh. Well, let me tell you about the metal rear lens cap for Nikon. It doesn't stay on very good. But so this is a 80 to 200. It's an 80 to 200. Let me see what the. It's got a pull-out metal hood. And what is, it's an f3.5 to f4. So, and the old wisdom is that older zoom lenses aren't any good. That's what people say. But I'll probably test this one out too and see how it does. It may do pretty good. It may not. It's all metal. The focus ring is from here to here. The focus and zoom ring are the same device. So there's just one place to grab, and it's rubber, 3.5 inches long, and you zoom and focus. And of course these are all manual focus. No telling how old it is. But it's a clicked aperture, 3.5 to 22. It says for Nikon. And let's see, no, it just says for Nikon on it. I was hoping it would say made in Japan or something, but it has no multi-coated Sigma. Ah, there it is, lens made in Japan. Pretty cool. So there's item number 3 in the gear haul for today. We'll put that over there. And now here's where things start to get a little more interesting. I kind of saved this for last. Here's another camera in a case, and this case hasn't deteriorated at all. It doesn't look much different than it did probably when it was brand new. And it's interesting, this camera has a strap that's elastic, which I really like. And it's a Nikon strap, and you can snap to remove it. I may actually use that strap when I'm doing street photography. I kind of like the elasticness of it. I may put it on one of my other cameras. I doubt I'll use this camera for street photography, but let's take a look and see what we got. Pop that open. Thank you, ma'am. All right, so this is a Nikon Fe2, which is a film camera, and the controls make more sense. There's a dial on the top for shutter speed, and there's a dial on the top for exposure compensation. It seems to operate more like cameras that I'm familiar with. And this is where things get even more interesting. On the front of that camera is another Nikon lens. It looks to be in really, really good shape. And as we take off the lens cap, it is a 50 millimeter f1.4. So that is really cool. And I took it off the camera and put it on the Z6. I haven't played with either of the big lenses, but both of the 50 millimeters I've played with, and I took it off the camera, put it on the Z6 and FTZ, and made just a few shots around the house, and it does really, really well. I have a Minolta from 1973, a Minolta 50 millimeter f1.4, and that lens, the focus throw on it has a much smoother, nicer feel than this lens. So in that area, I definitely like the Minolta better. But this lens, the image quality, in very, very early testing, seems really, really good with it. So I'm definitely going to experiment with this quite a bit. It goes from 1.4 to f16, and it appeared, I haven't measured it, but I think the minimum focus distance on this lens is a little bit closer, maybe 6 inches or so closer than the minimum focus distance on that older 50 millimeter f1.2. Heather looked it up on that same site, and it looks like this lens they stopped making it in about 81, so it was probably made in the late 70s through 81. It reminds me, the markings on it and the design reminds me quite a bit of my 105 f2.5 Nikkor lens that Heather got me for Valentine's Day a few years back. So the most exciting part of the entire gear haul is definitely this 50 millimeter f1.4. I've been wanting one of these old beasts for a while, the Nikon version, and now I've got one. So that's pretty cool. Got the original lens cap. Looks like she might have used this one quite a bit more. The lens cap is in a little bit worse shape. The lens cap on the other camera is perfect looking. She may interchange them. I don't know. But two Nikon film cameras. One probably from the early 70s, one probably from the late 70s, and a couple of third-party lenses. And there's some other stuff too. There's some filters and things, but this stuff is definitely the best part. And I'll definitely make a video or two about this 50 millimeter 1.4. 100% chance of that. So, beer and gear. Thanks for watching. Y'all have a great day. And if you like the content, subscribe, hit the bell, and give me a thumbs up. That's always appreciated. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye-bye.